Donald Cobain was born February 20th, 1967, in Aberdeen, Washington. He would grow up like so many during this era, parents who got divorced and bounced their child around from home to home. Eventually, he would end back with his mother and sister, helping solidify his appreciation and unapologetic, empathetic feminist views. He loved music and writing. He loved cats and art, and he absolutely loved and adored his daughter. But Kurt Cobain had a huge problem. The rise in narcotic drug use in the United States at this time was exploding, thanks to a system that didn't diagnose pain, it numbed it. Since his early childhood, he suffered from painful chronic physical conditions, including severe inflammation of his stomach. Kurt went through years of medical tests with no answers. Doctors prescribed him various pain medications, which only masked the issue without discovering the actual problem. When those didn't help, he turned to illegal ones, trying everything to relieve the pain without luck. Except one, heroin. And heroin would be the reason he was dead. But not in the way you think. This is a breakdown of what kind of heroin Kurt Cobain used, using information from the DEA.org, police reports, and toxicology reports. Kurt Cobain used black tar heroin. It was more commonly used on the West Coast, while white powder heroin was used on the East Coast. At the Cobain death scene, there was a cigar box labeled the drug kit. The crime scene photos show it closed and open. While we know that the police moved evidence to photograph them, there's no notes detailing any before or after pictures. That's a huge no-no. This drug box held the paraphernalia commonly used to prepare black tar heroin. What's inside the drug kit is a spoon, Q-tips, 2 syringes, a lighter, Actifed sinus medication, a tube of zinc oxide, and black tar nuggets. And this is the infamous drug kit. Look at it carefully. It seems unusual for drug users of any economic status to have a specific designated box for their drugs. These things are usually hidden away and not displayed. Everything in the box is loose. So you can imagine, while Kurt is supposedly carrying it, the stuff is moving all over the place. There's no rubber band or any way to keep it closed. It doesn't show any type of clasp or band or string in the pictures. So it could potentially open and dump everything, but the nuggets don't look smushed. There's other items in this box too. A torn package from Actifed sinus meds and zinc oxide. Neither is used for heroin in any way. The sinus meds don't do anything to enhance or alter the heroin, so this was just a box filled with random stuff. Or was it a dedicated box for drug use? Is it just a catch-all box? Or is it perhaps, maybe, a staged box? But there's something else. Black tar heroin is very sticky. It leaves a residue behind. When it's handled, it commonly gets on your skin, under your nails, and your clothes. It would most likely leave that residue all over the box and the items inside. Why is there no residue anywhere inside the box? Kurt's hands were clean of tar and clean of blood. It also takes time to prepare black tar heroin. There has to be a liquid, such as water or an acid, to break down the tar. Without water or the acid, the black tar heroin itself can't be used. There's no water source found at the scene. There's no sink and there's no plumbing inside or outside the greenhouse where Kurt Cobain was found. There was no cup or vessel to be found or cataloged that could have been used to hold water. That means, in my opinion, according to the information that I have on it, that without water or acid to help break down the tar to a liquid, it would have been impossible for it to be used in its current state. Evidence, forensic or otherwise, is only a piece of the story. We may never know the exact thoughts of someone in the moments before their death, but we can attempt to figure out what kind of person they were by examining their habits, how they behaved and interacted with others, and their mind frame near the end of their lives. Kurt Cobain is a well-documented public figure, making it easier to find out what he was doing in the last few months, weeks, and days of his life. And that makes it easier to understand what he believed in and his ethics. Yes, Kurt Cobain was an IV drug user. Yes, he used heroin. But he wasn't the heavy or chronic user most people believe he was. Because if he was, his body would have told us that in the autopsy and the toxicology, and it told a different story. Drugs can leave their mark on you long after you've given them up. IV drug use can leave traces of track mark scars, bruises, and collapsed veins. Heroin doesn't affect your organs the way other drugs can. The toxicology and autopsy reports show that Kurt Cobain had no other major medical conditions. His stomach issues were known to flare on and off. He had discussed about endoscopies that showed his stomach lining to be red and inflamed. His drug use seemed to increase during high times of stress, potentially triggering his stomach issues. It's also very common for people actively using heroin to consume little food. But according to the official autopsy report, Kurt had eaten shortly before dying. His stomach contents digested with meat and vegetable. Why wasn't there residue from the black tar? Why is the cigar box or the drug kit the only piece of evidence with clear fingerprints? No other evidence had fingerprints. None were on the weapon or the ammunition. No prints were on the pen that wrote the suicide note, but crystal clear ones were only found on the outside of the cigar box, not on anything on the inside. That's a forensic impossibility. The cigar box was found a couple of feet from Kurt's body. There was a stool 3 to 6 feet away from Kurt and across the room in the opposite direction diagonally to the cigar box. The needles were all capped in the box, and the spoon is placed inside with a nugget of black tar on it. Would someone who wished to end their life go through all of that, set everything up like a ritual, and then, after doing all of that, put the top back down, and then walk over and grab a shotgun that you've never used or handled before, and then end your own life? Anything is possible. But based on the physical evidence, is it probable? All crime scenes tell a story, and stories should make sense. There shouldn't be plot holes in them so wide that they leave more questions than answers.